Everybody has to start a journey of self-affirmation and self-discovery at some point in their lives. In this situation, developing personal boundaries and realizing the importance of saying no are vital skills. We frequently find ourselves ensnared in the pattern of putting other people's needs and wants ahead of our own, frequently at the detriment of our own interests and well-being. The purpose of this reflection is to examine the dynamics that underlie this behavior and emphasize how crucial it is to understand and accept our own boundaries. We'll talk about how leaving unhealthy environments or relationships is a powerful statement of autonomy and self-respect, in addition to being a self-preservation strategy. We will examine the different aspects of this process in this text, thinking about how learning to say no and staying on course in life can improve our relationships with others and ourselves and lead to a more genuine and satisfying life. Check your subscription before we start, and feel free to comment on the video with your thoughts. Now, let's get going. The inclination of many people to devote their time and energy to others, frequently even going above and beyond their own needs and limits, is an interesting and widespread phenomenon. But where does this behavior originate from? These people may have an innate desire to be appreciated and accepted, an internal quest for validation, or they may feel that their self-worth is inextricably tied to how other people see them. This over-anxiety about what other people think of you can become a trap. You run the risk of losing your identity when you give too much thought to what other people think, as if your continued existence relied on other people's acceptance of you. You start to reflect their expectations and viewpoints. This can be draining and frequently result in a never-ending cycle of seeking acceptance and recognition. This quest for acceptance may be driven by a number of factors. Some people may have self-worth issues and rely on approval from others to feel deserving. Some people may have been raised in homes where receiving love and attention was contingent upon living up to social norms, which has left them with the impression that this is the only way to receive respect or love. It's important to understand, though, that pursuing other people's approval non-stop can lead to loneliness and dissatisfaction. It's similar to attempting to put something perpetually out of reach into a hole inside of you. Having a better relationship with oneself and learning to value one's own needs and opinions may be the keys to ending this cycle. By doing this, one can start down a path that leads to greater authenticity and personal fulfillment, where one's happiness and self-worth are not determined by the opinions of others, but rather are just one aspect of the whole. Giving our time and effort to others is something that many of us have experienced at some point. However, why does this occur? Is it a deep need to be liked or a quest for self-affirmation? Being overly preoccupied with other people's opinions can make us actual hostages to their conclusions. Should you frequently encounter such circumstances, I would like to impart to you an important tactic to recover your independence and self-worth. Simply put, this tactic is called walking away. While it may sound a little abrupt, there are situations when it's a necessary step to reaffirm your personal power. We meet different people in our lives. Boundaries are disrespected by some, while others are extremely reliant or even cruel and self-centered. Regaining control over your own life and reinforcing your independence are two benefits of letting these people know you're willing to walk away. The ability to say no and having a clear direction in life are two essential pillars that reinforce the power of walking away. You probably have trouble turning down requests and don't have a clear goal if you frequently lose yourself in other people's desires or, worse, feel taken advantage of or mistreated. A well-defined objective communicates to others your value of time and implicitly of life. This automatically keeps you away from circumstances in which your boundaries are violated, remaining committed to your course lessens the need to look for outside validation. Recall that leaving involves more than just a physical act, it also requires a respectful and self-assured mindset. Taking this position conveys a strong message you are responsible for your life. I appreciate you taking the time to complete this reflection. Although it may seem harsh to walk away, there are situations when it is the only way to demonstrate one's independence in a particular situation. Numerous individuals come into contact with us during our life's journey. While some of these exchanges are ephemeral, like leaves blowing in the wind, others take root in our hearts. Every interaction, no matter how long or short, leaves its own mark on our individual narrative. Making the decision to take a step back is not always simple. Frequently, it is accompanied by a range of feelings, from relief to a hint of sadness. But it's crucial to keep in mind that writing our own story is a sign of self-awareness and maturity. One of the most important skills in creating a meaningful and real life is knowing when to say goodbye and end a chapter. This decision may occasionally appear self-serving to others, but it's really an act of self-preservation. We create room for new opportunities and enriching experiences by letting go of people or situations that no longer align with our values or aspirations. This path of self-discovery is a patchwork of encounters and goodbyes, each adding a distinct hue to the greater scheme of things. Even though they can be painful, these transitional moments are essential to our development. They impart knowledge on our boundaries, our aspirations, and above all, our true selves. By sharing these reflections, I hope to pique my audience's interest and curiosity and inspire them to view their own stories from a fresh, educational, and possibility-filled angle. Some of the diverse individuals who come into our lives pose unique difficulties in terms of comprehending and honoring individual boundaries. Some people can be unduly reliant on us, clinging to us, and taking up an excessive amount of our time and attention. Despite the fact that these exchanges are frequently well-meaning, they can become draining and tip the relationship off balance. Conversely, there are those people that we could categorize as disagreeable and malicious. These are people, regretfully, there are those who regard social interactions as potential venues for deceit and abuse. They may behave viciously, disregarding the welfare of others in favor of their own gain, demeaning others with sarcasm, criticism, or violent actions. Even though they are difficult, these negative interactions present worthwhile educational opportunities. They instill in us the value of setting and upholding sound boundaries. For the sake of our emotional well-being and personal growth, we must learn to recognize and manage such personalities. It teaches us to be self-assured, to defend our principles, and to stop putting up with rude or damaging behavior from other people. We are sending a strong message to ourselves and to those who disregard our boundaries when we consciously choose to keep our distance from them. This way of thinking makes it abundantly evident that we are independent beings who have the freedom to decide who belongs in our lives. Withdrawing is not only a self-affirming gesture, it's also a crucial step toward taking back control of our own lives and abilities. We can interpret our decision to put ourselves at a distance as an act of self-preservation and defense. We are looking out for our mental and emotional well-being when we distance ourselves from harmful individuals or demanding relationships. We are putting our personal space first and making an investment in our own development. It serves as a reminder that we are ultimately responsible for our happiness and inner serenity. Furthermore, this action may have a major effect on people who tend to cross boundaries. It can act as a catalyst for introspection, a chance for them to acknowledge the consequences of their actions and a chance to start making behavioral adjustments. The ability to say no with assertiveness and directionality are two essential pillars that support the power of walking away. To begin with, the ability to say no is a valuable skill in the art of establishing limits. It is clear, concise, and efficient. Saying no is a clear way to express your needs, preferences, and boundaries. It takes a self-affirming act like this to keep relationships civil and healthy. It serves as a declaration of independence, demonstrating your ability to make decisions and take action. Saying no is an expression of self-awareness and self-respect rather than merely a refusal. It enables us to say no to circumstances that make us uncomfortable, obligations that weigh us down, and actions that show us disrespect. When used with grace and assertiveness, this word demonstrates inner strength and confidence. Second, direction is the factor that leads us, both literally and figuratively, to our desired destination. Having a direction in life entails having objectives, aspirations, and a sense of meaning. Making decisions and selecting routes that are consistent with your goals and values is made simpler when you know where you are going. Having direction helps us stay focused and steer clear of unwanted influences and distractions. No and direction make a potent combination when combined. No shields us from unwelcome outside influences, but direction keeps us moving in the direction of our aspirations. These two ideas are essential to upholding our integrity as individuals and choosing a truly unique path. Giving in to other people's whims, or in more extreme situations being taken advantage of, manipulated, or abused by them may be a sign that you're having trouble saying no and that your life isn't going in the direction you want it to. These are cautionary tales that call for consideration and attention. The incapacity to say no frequently results from trying to please people, trying to avoid conflict, or thinking that other people's needs and wants come before our own. Even though this behavior might initially appear harmless, it can start a vicious cycle of self-denial and resentment and foster an atmosphere that is favorable to being taken advantage of or abused. However, uncertainty, a lack of self-awareness, or a fear of following our true interests can all contribute to a lack of direction. Without a clear plan, it's simple to be influenced by the goals and will of others, missing the chance to lead a life that is genuinely our own. Admittedly, the first step toward change is realizing these patterns within oneself. Building self-worth and self-awareness is the first step in realizing what we genuinely value and want out of life. From there, we can begin learning how to be assertive, say no when it's appropriate, and create and follow our own objectives. It's true that having trouble saying no and having no clear direction in life can make one less assertive and firm. We are more vulnerable to the influence and interests of others when we are not firmly rooted in our own beliefs and goals. Others may perceive this lack of firmness and, regrettably, take advantage of it in certain situations. When someone exhibits this lack of direction, others may be inspired to force their own goals and wills upon them. This could happen more covertly or overtly, but either way the outcome is the same. You could find yourself leading a life that more closely reflects the goals and expectations of other people than it does your own. It's critical to stress that having a direction in life does not entail having a set course or unalterable future vision. It entails knowing what matters to you, having a sense of purpose, and making choices that support your goals and ideals. A guide or internal compass that aids in navigating the complexities and challenges of life is provided by direction. Being able to say no, however, is a self-affirming behavior. It's being aware of and respectful of your own boundaries, needs, and preferences. Saying no is an affirmation of who you are and what you value, in addition to being a rejection of something unwanted. People may begin to regard that person's time as less valuable than their own when they observe that person is not dedicated to achieving their own goals. This idea may create a toxic environment where it is assumed that you put other people's needs and wants ahead of your own. In addition to making your time and efforts seem less important, this kind of situation can also create a habit of consistently putting your own objectives and desires on the back burner. This situation highlights the significance of developing a sense of direction and purpose. Having clear and personal goals helps to establish healthy boundaries and make decisions that reflect your own priorities. This doesn't mean ignoring the needs of others, but rather finding a balance between helping others and taking care of yourself. Furthermore, learning to value your own time and efforts is crucial. This involves realizing your worth and the importance of investing in yourself. This dynamic can be subtle and is often not done maliciously, but it reinforces the idea that the needs of others are more important, which can lead to a cycle of self-neglect. From the viewpoint of those who perceive others as less dedicated to their own objectives, it could emerge that you are, in a sense, serving their interests by devoting time to fulfill their demands. This perspective is problematic because it values your time and efforts exclusively in terms of their utility to others, rather than in terms of your own fulfillment and personal development. It can result in the belief that your value is inherently linked to your capacity to be useful to others, instead of realizing your own intrinsic value as a unique person. Being helpful to others is just one of the many ways to spend your time valuably. The true value of your time also shows up when you're working toward your own goals, taking care of yourself, or simply doing things that bring you joy and satisfaction. Such an approach not only minimizes the importance of your own aspirations and needs, but can also result in a loss of self-esteem and a feeling of dissatisfaction with life. This decision to live with a clear purpose fundamentally changes how others perceive you. People start to see someone who makes conscious choices about how to invest their time, someone who is not available to be indiscriminately consumed by the whims of others. Instead of being perceived as a resource available to others, you are seen as an individual who is deeply committed to and purposeful in your pursuit of a personal goal. This dedication not only reflects a clear definition of priorities, but also resonates as an affirmation of the value of your time and life. Having a commitment to your goals has many distinct benefits. Firstly, you feel more authentic and honest. Your choices and actions start to mirror your inner values and beliefs, giving you a sense of real and authentic life. Secondly, this commitment increases your respect for yourself and, in turn, the respect that others have for you. When you show others that you value your time, you naturally teach them to do the same. Lastly, having a commitment to your goals can inspire people around you. When they see your hard work and the results you achieve, you become an inspiration for them and encourage them to follow their own goals and passions. Then there's the important matter of setting healthy boundaries. When you commit to your goals, you learn to refuse requests that don't fit your priorities, which helps you to strike a healthy balance between attending to other people's needs and your own. Moreover, staying focused on your own goals and aspirations is a useful tactic for avoiding situations in which your boundaries are crossed or in which you are mistreated. You can use this ability to avoid dangerous environments in the workplace, in marriage, or even in friendships. Similarly, in personal relationships such as marriages or friendships, the ability to stay true to your own goals and values helps to identify when these relationships are becoming one-sided or harmful. In the professional realm, for example, Having a clear sense of direction can help you identify when a work situation is becoming toxic or detrimental, whether it's due to colleagues who don't respect your boundaries or an excessive and unbalanced workload. Knowing when and how to step back can be vital for your mental health and career progression. When you put your needs and goals first, you become more skilled at recognizing when it's time to pull away and look for healthier, more balanced environments and relationships. Being able to walk away from a close relationship is not only a sign of self-preservation, but also of self-respect, which is realizing your value and realizing that you deserve to be in relationships and situations that are respectful and reciprocal. These ideas are used to tell a story that empowers and defends listeners by making them realize how important it is to keep themselves safe from harm, and how important it is to seek out environments that support their well-being and personal development. Keeping your attention on your own path also reduces excessive concern with other people's affairs and opinions, because when you focus on yourself, the need to gain approval from other people lessens, and you start to realize that the only person you really need to prove anything to is yourself. Walking away from abusive people and destructive environments is a powerful way to protect your self-respect and integrity. This is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength and self-awareness. By making this choice, you are choosing not to allow your mental health and well-being to be compromised by toxic situations or relationships. This kind of self-knowledge and self-confidence is liberating and fundamental to building an authentic and fulfilled life. Setting and upholding healthy boundaries is a way of showing that you respect yourself and expect the same respect from others. It also sends a clear message to the world around you that you are in charge of your life and that you choose who and what deserves your time and energy. This is not to say that you don't care about friends, family, or partners. Rather, it shows that while you love and value your relationships, you are not dependent on them for your happiness or sense of self-worth. Walking away from a negotiation is confidence and an abundance mindset, both of which can be very powerful in negotiations. The abundance mindset isn't about having a lot of money, possessions, or a large social circle. Rather, it's about having an internal perspective, a state of contentment, and confidence in one's ability to achieve and create opportunities. Walking away during a negotiation sends a powerful message, especially in a business context. It tells others involved that you have other options and that, while interested, you are not entirely dependent on that particular deal to move forward. In personal relationships, it is important to realize that although loving and valuing people in your life is natural and important, you don't need them for your happiness or sense of worth. By realizing this, you can create more balanced and healthy relationships without excessive dependency. You also radiate a sense of self-assurance and self-sufficiency when you operate from this viewpoint, which can be very attractive and persuasive to others. The strongest position in negotiation is usually to be willing to walk away and take it seriously, as this shows that you are acting voluntarily and not out of necessity or desperation. You also retain control and integrity of the situation by being ready to leave the negotiation table if conditions are unfavorable, which increases the likelihood that you will come out on top and guarantees that you will always be in a position of power. You win by upholding your own boundaries and standards. If you found this content helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay calm and see you next time.